Okay. So this is a helper meeting. Thank you to the 2 helpers that are here. The rest of everyone else, the other guys, are guides. And I always want guides to come so that you guys kind of get used to who you can ask for help when you need it. If you want to just go to someone, or you can always just say, I need a guide, and someone will reach out to you in the chat. I want to talk first about the instant message, which I cannot say that name, so I always want to call it something else. Have either of you used the instant message?
Yes, quite a few times. Yes.
Okay. So, and you are connecting with people?
Yes, I find that it's empty most of the time, though.
I know
yeah, me too.
Okay, so we're trying to revamp that so that people know that it's there. I think people don't realize that it's there. I think that's the problem.
Now when I log on, it says, oh, you have 2 people waiting. I like that feature.
Okay, yep. I think when people, the onboarding, when you first come on, I don't think it's clear that it's there, so they're revamping that.
And every person I talk to, I tell them, go look at that lightning bolt. You can find more helpers. So I'm advertising in my own little world here.
Good. That is actually really good. I have a pre-written script that I've say to almost every user. Like, if you want an instant conversation, what we are finding is people do want that instant conversation. They want a buddy immediately. And that is helpful. And I also think it's helpful for helpers that have not had a buddy yet. So it kind of works both ways. You can get a buddy instantly.
Maybe I should advertise it in the group a little bit.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Jane? That would be great. Let's do that. So the helper's role is going to be reworked a little bit. And what we're going to start doing is there's going to be one course, real quick course for all helpers to take. And once you take the course, you then get your badge. And if you already have a badge, you're going to get the course just to take it so you're refreshed as to the rules, the terms and conditions, all of that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes. So what we found is you do get like information, but nobody reads it because it's way too long. It's too much information. Which I understand, but the problem is that then people come to me and say, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. I didn't know this and I didn't know that. So we have to have something for, hey, Tori, something for it to all line up. So that's going to happen. And then we're going to start removing badges in a different manner. So if helpers have been inactive after 2 weeks, their helper badge is going to go.
Oh,
the helpers are there's too many
for
us to, reach out to every single one of them and say, hey, why aren't you on? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? It's just, there's too much. So after 2 weeks, if you've been inactive, not in the app, not sending messages, the badge is going away and you start from the beginning again. We have to do something, because what's happening is I get messages all the time. Oh, my helper's not responding. First I get them and they're like, I say, when did you reach out to your helper? And they say 15 minutes ago. And I'm like, well, give them a minute. They don't need to respond right away. But a lot of times what I get is, I reached out to them last week and they still haven't responded. And then when I look at their profile, they have no contributions for like a month. And then I have to manually go in, take the helper badge off. It's like, big deal. And then I have to go into the helper community and say, is there a helper that wants a new buddy? So by having the instant message and by taking off the badge, that buddy will be able to get someone immediately. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And of course, it is time for my dogs to act up because I'm in a meeting. So we're going to have to ignore them. I had a helper message me with some questions. So I'm going to read her questions and answer them because I thought that would be easier, because I always say, if you have a question, more likely somebody else has that same exact one. So give me 1 second so I can pull the message up, but it's right here. Okay, so one thing that she's asking about is the location issue. So can you say you're from the US or the UK? Yes, you can. You can even say you're from, Georgia if you wanted to. I think saying your exact location is dangerous for obvious reasons. I actually don't even, when someone asks me where I'm from, I usually just say the States. I don't say anything else. If they pry or if they press, maybe I'll say East Coast or West Coast. You know, I don't give more than that. You know, the reality is we do not know any of these users. I don't know any of you sitting here. You could all, you know, not be who you say you are. So don't give it out. But you have to go with your comfort level. She's funny. She's asking like longitude and latitude and all that, but you don't have to give any information that you don't want to. And you can even say, I'm not comfortable giving out my location. And if they're pressing it and they really want it, then why do they really want to know where you live? Like, seriously, you can have a conversation with someone and they don't need to know where you live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if they are pressing, stop talking to them. Like, you don't have to talk to them. It's not, you know, you don't have a gun to your head. You don't have to do that. If they're making you uncomfortable, say, you know what? I'm sure you can find another helper, but this isn't for me. And, you know, the other thing is I told this to another helper a couple weeks ago who shared their location, shared their phone number and everything. And she said, well, the user wanted to talk to me. And I said, well, you can say no, for one. No is a sentence. You can say to them, if I give you my location, I'll get my badge taken away. Tell them that, you know, you're following the rules. That's okay to do too. And if they continue with it, then you message me and say, this user will not stop asking me this. Whenever you message me with situations like that, I need a screenshot. So take a picture of it. If you're on an Android, you can email it to me or just send it to me in app. I need to see what's going on. I wish I could just take everyone's word for it, but unfortunately I can't do that. I really need to see the conversation and what happened. Not that I'm mad at you or I think you did anything wrong. I just need to be certain that, you know, it was inappropriate or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, I have something to insert right there.
You go for it, Jane.
Take the picture before you block the person, because
Thank you,
if
Jane.
you block them, it disappears. Everything, the chat, everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all goes away. Now you can get it back. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but you can get it back. But
Yeah.
Jane's absolutely right. I take screenshots all the time and save them because you just never know what's gonna happen. Good point. Anyone else got questions with that?
Just wondering about, this isn't exactly related, but if someone asks to connect with you, but they don't actually message you, is it okay just to leave it if you're busy or, you know, they haven't actually sent you a message, they've just asked to connect?
Yep, absolutely. And the other thing is when people write hi, I'm sure you guys get a lot of that, just the hi. And they might not want more than a hi. They might be just seeing what's there. I usually have just a pre-written thing like, hey, what's up? Like, keep it really simple and see what happens after that. You do not have to open up that, or no, you do not. I mean, some people just are connecting. They might be scrolling through the trend, and that'll all change with the new platform. They'll just scrolling through looking for people to connect with. I think people think of it like Facebook or Instagram, where they're trying to have like friends, followers. The problem is right now in the app, you can't remove your connections. So if you connect with them, you're stuck. I mean, you can block them. So if you block them, it's going to block your direct messages with them. They're still going to show up in your feed or in your connections, but they can't message you.
Yeah, I thought that I actually noticed that, how you've just got a big line of people on your connections that you have nothing to do with the tool.
And that'll all be changing soon too. You'll be able to remove them, but not just yet. It's coming soon.
I hide them too, so I don't see them on my list. Yeah,
I do too. I hide them. But if you have an Android, you can't hide them. Sorry, Joe.
If you've hidden someone, can you unhide them again?
If you just find their message, I mean, I could never scroll. I have thousands of messages, but if you search their name, you can. Hopefully, fingers crossed, soon, you'll be able to search your messages. Like, let's say you had a conversation with a firefighter and you cannot remember that person's name, and you'll be able to search and you'll find the word firefighter, and then the message will come up. So it'll go.
That's good.
It'll go in three things. First, it'll start with their name. First it'll start in any conversations you had, like in the boards, and then it'll go to the person's name, and then it'll go to your DMs. And very soon, hopefully, the buddies will be separated from your direct messages. You'll be able to scroll the top and the buddies will all be there.
Okay, that's cool.
You have a rare Sarah Kay appearance. She must be up from a nap. Anyways, so any questions before we go any further there?
Can I have a question about the instant chat?
Yes.
So when I had people, so I've clicked on it and there's been someone sitting there, so I message them and say, hey, do you like to chat or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily reply, which is not that unusual. But also, buddy doesn't come up next to their name. And also, is it just for people who have just joined the app?
So right now, when you just join the app, you are getting that instant message pop up. So most of the people you have probably aren't even enrolled yet in the buddy program. They may have applied for it. It just hasn't gone through yet.
Okay.
Eventually, what, hopefully will happen is when you connect, they become your buddy. I don't know if I want that like that, to be honest with you, because they might instant message you and you might have a great conversation for a little bit, but you don't want to like support them the way you might want to connect with some other buddies. So I don't necessarily think it should be that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the people that I felt like I've connected with the most and maybe helped the most have been not buddies.
Right.
So, a few buddies I've had, I've barely had any.
Well, and I think what happens with the buddies is that people log in and they say, okay, I definitely want to be a buddy. This is great. I'm going to be a buddy. And they don't want it after they've been in it. Like they kind of get over it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And they just go in the app,
Yeah.
And
I think the instant chat feature is taking over the buddy feature. I don't get the buddies like I used to.
I hope it does, actually, to be honest with you, because what'll happen is those are the people that actually want to have a conversation. People might log into the app and say, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be a buddy. And then they realize, oh, I don't really want this. And that's why they're not responding. So there's that. So you can see the child doing whatever he's doing in the background here. The other thing is the buddies. That's why you have so many. So you could have like 35 buddies, but only 5 of them are active.
And
that's problematic. What I would love to see is that you could hide those buddies that aren't so active.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll all come.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyone can use the middle thing then.
Anyone can use the middle thing. I unfortunately don't have it. It's in testing right now. So 50% of the users have it. 50% of them don't. I'm in the don't. I had it for a day and then it went away. So that's always fun. Does anyone here who's got it? Jane, you have it? Warren, do you have it?
I do. Yeah.
Can you show it on your screen right now, please? Because that way people who don't have it can see it.
I have it, but I'm glad you said 50% of the users don't have it, because those are the people I'm trying to direct where to go.
Yeah.
And they're not finding it.
Right. So it's that little thing down in the bottom there, and then it looks like that because nobody's there.
I see that.
You tip it.
It's purple lightning bolt, right?
Yeah.
It's a lightning bolt in the center. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Yeah, it'll look different soon.
Are we talking about who sees it?
The home.
Yeah, do you see it, Joe?
Yeah. Surprisingly, it shows.
The one Android user on the app sees it.
Woo, Android! Woo! Yeah, actually, you know what's funny?
It goes away.
Yeah, that's what was happening to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's weird too. It'll go away. Also, like sometimes I'll go on and it'll say, "Oh, there's a buddy to talk to. Like, go." It says like "go" or something. I'm like,
yeah.
All right. Maybe I don't know.
I'll think about it. Do you log out and log back in, or do you leave? Oh, see, that's why.
Well, no, I keep it logged in all the time, but like I close the app.
No, okay.
So like when I get a notification on like the top of the phone saying like I have a message, I'll click on the notification, and that little instant icon is not there. But
This
if I
is very
completely
important.
close the app and go through the icon on my phone,
Found
it's
that is a glitch.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening to me. That's a glitch that I need to report. So glad we're having this conversation. Okay. So when you notificate, and you're using what kind of phone? An iOS or an Android?
Android.
Damn Android.
Yep. Android in the house. Barely.
That's it.
Barely.
Nobody else. Oh God. Okay. So I'm going to go on to the next thing. Is that okay?
Yep.
So we had a very real conversation in the helper chat the other day about people using positive comments to you guys and it making some people uncomfortable, and is it leading to something else? And I understand the fear. I understand that we do have people that are, using it for a dating app, which it's not. And I will say that if you tell me that they're using it for a dating app and you show me with proof, they will be removed or they will be warned. If it's just, basic, they'll get a warning. If it's something a little bit more, they took it up a notch, they will be removed. This is not a dating app, 100%. It's not a dating app. No matter how many people say, well, it was advertised as a dating app. And I say, where was it advertised as a dating app? And they say, I don't know. Then it wasn't advertised. If it's not on Tinder and Grindr, it ain't a dating app. When someone messages you and says, hi, pretty, hi, beautiful, oh, your smile is so sexy, I know that sometimes you're like, what the hell is this person's problem? Like, really? But maybe that's just their way of greeting people. I mean, I call people honey and babe all the time. Am I inappropriate? Yes, sometimes, but not on Wisdo. So I always say, thank you. What brings you to Wisdo? I'm sorry about my dogs. They will either say, I'm here to date, or I'm here because, I'm depressed, sad, lonely, and blah, blah, blah. You'll be able to tell within a few sentences what's going on there. But I feel like you can't, just because someone messages that, you can't jump on them and just go off on them. It's not fair to them because we really don't know what their intentions are. And I keep saying this, compassion first. Give a little bit of kindness out and see what happens. And the other thing is I've actually turned users' minds around. Like they've come in, they've said something like that. What'd you come here for? I came here to find a date. And I say to them, this is social media. You're not going to find a date on this app. This is about, sharing our experiences, blah, blah, blah. And they've been like, oh, really? And then they check it out. And guess what? They love Wisdo. So I just want us to be really mindful of this. And I don't remember who it was, had a very good point about hypersexuality happens a lot when you're with certain mental illnesses, bipolar being one of them. It's just true. It's just what it is. And this is an adult app. So, well, obviously, when I see it, I remove any sexting or anything of that nature. I get that people are going to come on with a little bit more finesse, let's say. And we just need to be mindful of that. I mean, I've had some schizophrenic users that I've had to dial it back, but I understand the schizophrenic community, so I get that they're hypersexual. I mean, there's been articles written about it. So we need to be mindful of that. We really do need to be paying attention and thinking, wow, maybe this person has an issue and that's why they're messaging. So does that make sense? The other thing I want to add is when you message me and you say to me, can this user be removed because they said, hey, beautiful, I can't remove someone for saying, hey, beautiful. Like, what grounds is that? I'm sorry if it made, I get triggers. I get making people uncomfortable 100%. And my heart breaks for that because I know what PTSD is like. But I can't, that user might not have been meaning to do that. Like that user could have just been saying, you're beautiful, because let's face it, we've said it before, Warren is beautiful.
He is very beautiful.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any questions?
Move on.
See, there we go. Any questions there?
Mm-mm.
Fantastic. So we're gonna I'm gonna cover underage users again. That's true. Good point, Sarah, who's not on camera or video. Cultural differences. This is true.
Oh, I didn't even see Sarah join.
Yeah, she's making a rare appearance.
Oh, okay.
She's taking a final while she's on. Girl, Seriously?
What?
Oh my God, that's loyalty right there. She's right though. Cultural differences make a huge, impact on that. And language barrier. I think some people, their language isn't there and they're saying the first thing that they think you might want to hear. And it, might not be that.
That's a big thing, actually. I talked to a few people from even like the Middle East and some other places, like some other areas that might be a little bit more rural, and they have a whole different way of like speaking, Like, I don't think it's necessarily, they mean like that, but.
Jack, we are not cheating for Sarah. Naughty.
No, I'm just trying to help. Sorry.
I guess.
Obviously, Jack meant questions for Wisdo, not questions for Final, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Warren.
Lies. Yes, that's, it's all very true. I just think that we need to, you just need to remember that we put compassion first. We just don't really know why they're here. The other thing is maybe it took them a lot of courage to even message you. And then, you're like right away, this is not a dating app. And they never thought that. They thought, I'll just be calling Warren pretty because he's so pretty. Anyways, or maybe they were calling you beautiful because they love Marilyn Manson and they just love the song Beautiful People.
He said, I don't know about that.
Well, I call everyone darling, so.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do the same thing. And then after I say it, I'm like, oh, they might not like that. But, I think it's not. And that might be a cultural thing for you, too. I would never say darling. I mean, maybe I do, but you know what I mean? That might be from where you are. So I think that's important. Just remember that there's so much diversity here. And then I got a message from a helper who was talking to a 14-year-old user, and I had to remove them. And, she was really bummed about it. And I get it. I do. It's not safe for them here. It just isn't. Frankly, it's illegal. So, we could get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble. You could find yourself in a really uncomfortable position, and I definitely don't want that to happen. You're not ratting on anyone. You're not snitching on them. They have to be removed. I don't just throw them out the door. They're given a really great teen app that has counselors. There's no counselors here. This is not professionals. We are not we're peer-to-peer and nothing more. And a list of resources for them from all over the globe. So they're not just shoved out. The underage users are our biggest, lowest review. That we get the worst reviews from them. They're so angry when they leave, and they just go and they just blast Wisdo everywhere. But, it's not a safe place for them. I know I've given a ton of horror stories, and I clearly could keep giving them till I'm blue in the face. I don't want to, because I think some people it makes them uncomfortable and even a little scared. But if you're an adult and 17 and over on the internet, and you are talking to someone under 17, you can be liable for things that you say to them if something happens. I'm not sure if anyone knows what happened on Instagram, but there was a 16-year-old girl, and she put a poll up, should she kill herself? And people said yes, and she did. That will never happen on Wisdo because, first of all, she's 16, she clearly needs help. And second of all, this is like adult problems. These are big problems, and we can't handle them. We need help. And I just thought in my head, God, she must have been posting other stuff on Instagram. Why didn't someone see that and report it? And they don't report it. And when they report it on Instagram, it doesn't go anywhere. When you report it here, it goes somewhere. It goes to me. I take care of it. I assess them. The guides assess them first, and they'll say that if you message a guide with a suicide user and they assess it and then they message it to me, I will make sure that person is safe. But I don't even want it to get there with an underage user. It's got to be stopped. It just has to be, because the wrong thing to an impressionable child could be really dangerous. And I don't want that at all. Does that make sense? I mean, that's just the scary part of it. There's also this really weird, perverse part of it that kids are freaking sex fiends. My God, these kids message me the nastiest stuff. And I think in my head, didn't your mama teach you not to sex right away? And if you think that that's an adult and you start messaging them back and forth, you are charged with child pornography. You are charged with so many things you don't even want to know, especially anyone in the UK right here. Fear the UK internet law. It is no freaking joke. So no, the answer to that is no. Underage users have to go. And if you are an underage helper and you are, hiding yourself on the app, I will find out. Kidding. Just do the right thing. Really, because honestly, what can happen is Google or the App Store could remove us. They actually removed 3 dating apps 2 weeks ago because they had underage users on it, and they were hooking up with older people, and they had all these pedophile issues. They removed 3 apps, Google and the App Store. And I just read somewhere that TikTok is now trying to be 18 and over because of all the problems they have. Good luck, buddy. You already started it. Too late now. I just don't want that to happen to us. I want to keep Wisdo's integrity and safety and trust on point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions, comments, concerns? No. Tori, what are you making?
I'm making chicken fajitas.
Okay, so in this call,
Yum.
Do you prefer chicken fajitas or pasta and chicken?
Chicken fajitas.
Chicken fajitas all day.
Chicken fajitas.
Oh, damn.
Screw you all!
I'll share. You just have to figure out where I am and come see me, and I'll share.
For the record, I could totally.
Only for you guys. Only for the people on this watching, not the people watching on YouTube. The ones who are currently logged in.
There you go. All right, Tori, you get them, girl. Well, that's my question. So fajitas or chicken pasta. So let's see who. Actually, I'm a vegetarian, so I wouldn't eat either one of your houses.
I'm also vegetarian.
Are you and
I vegetarian? I can add tofu instead of chicken. No problem.
You got me now. I'm there.
And Luke seems to
I didn't have tofu.
I'll do corn pieces. Instead of chicken.
Oh, yeah. I can't get corn pieces anymore here. Bums
Luke,
me out.
is your food safe? You're wearing your high-vis jacket. I'm a bit worried.
So safe. So safe.
Does anybody have any questions before I stop recording, and then Warren can talk about Luke's safety jacket? We can do the safety dance. If you don't dance, no friend of mine. Safety dance with me. All right. No questions, comments, concerns, problems.
I have a question.
Hit me.
So, since I just became a guide yesterday.
Yes, this is true.
Since I just became a guide, now my helper cat thing is not there. Is that supposed to be gone?
It's not supposed to be there. You got to be a guide for a little bit. I might add it back after you've been a guide for a little bit. I might not.
Okay.
Might have.
So I was just struggling to find where this link was, and I was like, "Wait, it's in the helper." Okay, and I searched everywhere. And I'm like, I can't find the chat.
So how did you find it? Just curious.
I realized I had copied it, so it was in my copy.
Yeah. And I don't mind guides coming to this. I think it's important for guides to know who the helpers are that they can reach out to, and I also think it's great for you to see everyone here was a helper besides Sarah, because we didn't have that back then, back in the Stone Ages when Sarah joined us. Everybody should, if you want to be a helper or if you want to be a guide, this is how you get there. And it really is not just coming to the meetings, but paying attention to them. I get that you can't come to them. I had a couple helpers message me and say, you always have the meetings when I can't attend. And my comment every time is, when I get more than 3 helpers coming to my meetings, I will cater to the helpers. But until then, ain't happening. It's going to me. But you can watch it, and that's just as important. That's why I put these little things in there for you to try to see if you actually watch the whole video. Because people who don't, I think it affects your role as a helper if you're not watching them. It really does.
I have a question.
Hit me.
Can you tell people what they should do if they have a suicidal user?
Sure thing, Jane, because you're so good at it. If you have a user, now let me just preface, people can post in the app, I want to kill myself. They're depressed. They're lonely. They feel like that's the last straw. They are just done. If you see that in there, simply posting something like, what's going on to make you feel that way? Or, you know, what happened today? You know, what have you done in the past to help you get out of this? Who's your support people? You know, anything of that nature. And you can start to kind of bring them out of that. You know, I was just talking a few weeks ago about start talking about music, start talking about chicken fajitas. You know, hey, I'm cooking chicken fajitas tonight. Have you ever had a chicken fajita? You know, just try to get their conversation changing a little bit. And more than likely they will change. They will start talking about something else. If they are persistent, I can't do this anymore, I'm done, and you're uncomfortable and it's a situation that you need help in, you could post in the guide chat, you know, hey, in the helper chat, is there a guide around? Or, you know, I have someone that needs help. Or you could reach out to any of the guides that are here and say, there's a user I think that you should check out. Take a screenshot of it. That always helps. And we'll reach out to them. The guides are trained a little bit more for crisis, which is important, and they know what to do. So do not handle a suicide user on your own. And FYI, do not call them. If they say to you, I'm going to kill myself if you don't call me, do not call them. Warren, what do you do if they tell you to call you?
Don't call them.
Don't call them. Do not. I know it seems scary. You think in your head, oh my God, if I don't call them, they're going to kill themselves. I highly doubt it will not happen. You can message me or a guide and say, they're making me uncomfortable. They're saying if I don't call them, they're going to kill themselves.
You also don't know how much you can believe them. You don't know why they want you to call them at all.
I say this all the time. I could tell you that I drive, you know, Lexus, I don't even know what, and my sons, you know, have Jeeps as their Wranglers, as their car. My kids don't even drive, and I drive a minivan. I can tell you anything I freaking want, anything. You have no idea what the person is really saying on the other end. And honestly, when I've had people do that and call the person, it results in something bad. It results in an inappropriate conversation. It results in maybe the user being really like seriously suicidal and saying things that you cannot handle. Whatever the case may be, you don't call anybody. Like
it might be a scam or anything, yeah.
Scam, which actually, Warren, I'm glad you said that. If you give your phone number out as a helper, if you give your Facebook out, if you give your Instagram out and your Snapchat, your WhatsApp, your badge was automatically removed. I have written it everywhere, posted it everywhere. Do not give your personal information out. It is so dangerous and it will get you into trouble. And I can't help you once you leave the app. It's not because I want to keep everybody on Wisdo, although I do. I want you to be safe. I want you to be in a safe place that I can help you. If you are on Instagram and someone that you met on Wisdo is sending you inappropriate pictures, you got to go take that up with Instagram, and good freaking luck to you, because they ain't going to do shit. Stay on Wisdo and I can help you. If you leave, I cannot. And this goes for the guides too, and they all know that. If I find out that you've been sharing your information, you're out of it. Your badge is off. It's just not safe. And you know, this is peer-to-peer chat. You're not a professional. But if you worked for a crisis line, you would never give your phone number out to anyone there. Never. You would never do it. You'd get removed as a crisis care rep. They wouldn't even allow you to do it anymore. So, you know, this is a volunteer position, and we cover you for only so much, but once you leave the app, I can't cover you. And again, like, I could tell you some really screwed up stories and you just would be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But it totally happened, because it's the internet and nobody's, you know, we can be who we want. You know, you could be your real authentic, true self, really raw and really open, or you could be someone you don't want to be, you know, that you're not really. I could be Warren.
Be pretty like me.
I could be pretty like you. Oh, so pretty.
I have another question.
Go, Jane.
What do you do if you have a topic that you're not comfortable with? And you could, I know the answer to this, obviously, but that's a good subject to talk about.
Yeah. So we're an adult app. So if a user messages you and maybe they're having marital problems and maybe they're asking sexual questions, but not talking sexual, if that makes sense, and you do not want to talk about it, you can say, first of all, you can say, I'm totally uncomfortable talking with this. This is not my expertise. You know, let me find you another helper. You could message in the helper chat, hey, does anyone have, you know, experience in the LGBT community, in the sex addiction community, in the addiction community, in the whatever community, in the like, I mean, Joe could get someone that wants to talk about motherhood. He clearly isn't a mother. So anytime you are uncomfortable, or if it's outside your wheelhouse, message in the helper chat and say, help me, and somebody else will take it. If nobody does, message me or a guide, and we will get on it immediately. Nobody should feel uncomfortable. Absolutely not.
Well, I'd like to thank Tori, because she helped me with a user, and it was a great relief to have sort of a backup situation there.
Yeah. You know, and the other thing, just to go back and point this out, if you do see a thread where, two things. If you see a thread where someone did say that they wanted to kill themselves, and then underneath it, people are commenting and the person's still like, I'm going to do it, yada, yada, this is going to happen. Don't jump in. Don't. Back up. If the person's getting too overwhelmed, they could close up, and I won't be able to get anything out of them. So leave it open. If people are commenting, especially if there's a guide in there, more than likely they've told me about it, and I'm probably DMing the person, and they won't DM me back if they're getting all these comments in the thread. They'll just stay in the thread, and
it's
I
like
need to
getting berated, you know.
Right.
No
and
one
they're
likes
overwhelmed,
that.
but everyone's on top of them, and just be safe.
Yeah.
The other part to that is, if I post somewhere the stop sign and say stop commenting, please do not comment. The reason why is because I'm trying to shut down the thread. And if someone else adds to it, even if you're saying, thanks, Mama, for, you know, stopping this thread, it kind of like bumps it again. And then someone's going to get notified that you comment, and they're going to look at it again, and they're going to comment. It just becomes like a vicious cycle. Don't comment. If it's something that you see and I haven't put the stop sign in it, message me and say, hey, did you check this thread out? Because if you didn't, you really should, because there's an argument going on. People who don't engage in arguments get guides so much quicker. You know, I do see things and I don't comment on it sometimes. And I'll see users, I see helpers, I see guides arguing. I understand when you're passionate about something. I totally get it. Trust me. There's times when I open the app and I see a conversation and I'm like, but I step back and I say, first of all, I'm never going to change that person's opinion. So why give them my energy? That's number one. Never going to change their opinion. And number two, is it healthy for me to even have this argument? No. So don't have it, because you adding to that argument is also unhealthy for the community. And that's when I have to step in and look at it for the community as well. Now, that doesn't mean that someone once said to me, well, you're stifling me and I can't voice my opinion. Absolutely not. You can totally voice your opinion in a respectful, compassionate way. You don't have to have an argument. We actually have a community that we'll be building, should be up by next week. They're called the Better Angels, and they're a political company, and they teach people how to debate in politics in a healthy, respectful manner, both sides. I think it's going to be a really great asset to Wisdo. I can't wait to watch them and learn from them, because trust me, it's really hard for me to not comment on things sometimes. Really, really hard.
Really hard.
So hard. So hard.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn that one too.
And honestly, and also, if you want to comment, a whole long paragraph is an argument, but one or two sentences that just state your opinion with maybe a flower emoji at the end of it, you know, something to be like, I'm not coming at you from a negative, angry space. I'm coming at it from, this is my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I just want you to know it. Thanks for shopping. Bye-bye. But if you go on a rant, you're going on a rant. Like, that is obvious. And Wisdo's not a rant. We're not Facebook, or Twitter, which both are great places to rant. Twitter more so than rant. Not that I'm encouraging you, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
Any other questions? Good one, Jane.
I just have a question about, so if someone is messaging you and they clearly are on Wisdo for the wrong reason, is it the right thing to do to put their name into the helpers chat? Is that the right way?
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Do not put any username in the helper chat. Don't do it. Actually, I'll finish that and then I'll go back to something else. Don't. Just message me and tell me. If they're really inappropriate, I'm going to remove them. But if you put their name in there, what ends up happening is 10 other helpers are going to come in and say, I hate when that happens. All of them been on this app. They all suck. And I'm going to chat because not every guide is a dick, because I've had conversations with all 4 of the guides on this chat and they are fantastic men and I'm not having that. So that's what it will turn into. Just message a guide. Look, if they're saying I'm here to date, they're going to get a warning. But if they're saying I'm so horny, they're out of here. That's not happening. Words that I will not tolerate are slut, not having it. You can leave my app. It's not going on. Retard, not happening. You're gone. Nigger is a very difficult word because when people say it, some people are saying it and they think it's slang. It is not slang. It is a racial slur, and that is the way we will take it. You will be removed for saying it. Now, maybe if I see that it was said like in a slang manner, you might get a warning. You might. More than likely, you're out of here. It's not happening. I can't stand those 3 words. I think they all are in the same genre, and they will be gone. So we don't need to have a big discussion is what I'm saying about it. And the guides know this too. Like, we're not going to post it in the guide chat, just like we're not going to post it in the helper chat, because they're going to be removed. So why discuss it? Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm big on those 3 words. It just doesn't happen.
So you could go to like a guide instead if someone's like giving you a problem in your messages. You can just find a guide, that you see maybe in a group somewhere and just say, hey, like this user's been bugging me, so they'll handle that person appropriately.
No, Sarah, thank you for that. Just like with the guide chat, the helper chat needs to be stayed to talk about helper issues. If you have like a personal issue, post it in one of the communities. That's what it's there for. But it's really important to keep the helper chat to helpers topics, because what happens is if I come in and I try to scroll that to see if anyone needed help, and there's like someone's talking about going to see Endgame and someone else talking about Game of Thrones and this person's talking about making chicken fajitas, it gets lost and I can't find it. But if you're posting questions in there, actually, Jane, you're really good about making sure everyone maintains that. They're found easier and the guides can find them easier. And also, I know a lot of people want to put cute little quotes up in there. I'm never going to approve them. I'm always going to decline them because that'll just into like a cute quote fest, and then it will lose its momentum. And I'm not doing this to be mean. The guides have the same rules. These are the same rules that apply in both. So thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Anything else? Well, this is a long meeting for just having basically 2 helpers on it.
I have one more thing.
Hi. What, honey?
You know how it's pinned in the helpers chat about the instant messages, whatever?
Yeah. I'll change that, Jane. Remind me to change it to the meeting.
Yes, it would be so good if you could pin the meeting.
I didn't do it. The boss did it. The boss
pin
did
the guidelines.
I the boss for it. Because he messaged me and he's like, how do people find the helper meeting? I'm like, well, it's usually pinned in the chat, but somebody unpinned it and posted some survey. And he's like, oh, that would be me. I forgot about it. So when I transcribe this one, I'll pin it in there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's actually because what's great about it is I would say, just check the pinned post. And if any of you guys see a helper in there that says that they're new, you can, message them or just put it in the thread and say, welcome to the helper chat. Check out the pinned post, make sure you watch the video. It really does help.
They just don't know what that means. The pinned post.
Well, if they're on Android, they can't see it.
Oh.
It's true.
Tori.
That's one thing to add to the list.
Yeah, we should add that to us. This is new for Tori, I think, but Joe's so used to it by now.
I'm literally crying right now. It might be because of the onions, but I think it's just because I can't use the app properly.
If you would have saw what it looked like before, oh my God, you would have died. It's come so far. It's getting
even in the past couple months. It's been getting better.
We have a great team on the Android right now, so I really believe that it's gonna blossom. And we just won.
It better blossom pretty quick.
In the Google Store, we just won like app, most inspiring app for 2018.
That was good. I actually looked at that too. I seen that.
Yeah, we won a store. So it's
on
really
the store. So that's
on the store. Yeah, it was on the store, featured right there.
Okay.
Which just means more Android users, which is good because if
there's a lot of downloads on Android too, actually.
If you have more Android users, then you're going to have more product development in Android. So, anyone else got any other questions? All right, cool. I'm going to stop recording because if we go too far, no one will watch it.